Aiven is a unified platform that allows you to store, stream, and serve any of your data on the cloud. So that means we support all the open source products such as Kafka, MySQL, Postgres, OpenSearch, ClickHouse. And we do that across all the major clouds. We have our financial operations team, we have our financial reporting team, we have our tax and treasury team, and then we also have our FP&A/data analytics team. Those teams work together to make sure that we have a good understanding of how our finances are doing every month with all the revenue that we've billed our customers and all the cash that we need to be collecting from customers. We also need to pay all our bills. We have 17 legal entities. We actually have a lot of things to keep track of with the team in Helsinki. When I joined Aiven in fall 23, I learned very quickly that we had one person in the Treasury team who basically needed to keep track of how things were flowing and which accounts needed funding, etc. In everything we were doing, we needed to rely on him and also his expertise and the bank contacts he had to resolve issues. If there was a payment issue, we'd have to have him support the investigation process. It became just not scalable. You end up being held back because you can't do anything more because you're constantly doing the day-to-day, the tactical. What I learned was that because there was no integration, all that work was done manually, meaning he had to log into up to 10, 12, 13 different bank account sites just to get information about what the balance was. And that highly manual process meant that we weren't using that one resource's time very effectively at all. The job of finance is ultimately around helping the company with appropriate resource allocation. And to know what resources you can allocate and when to allocate, you need to know what you have. And so cash is obviously oxygen for us, and so it's really important to know what we have so that we know how we want to spend it. And I think ultimately knowing that that part of the puzzle is now complete and is holistic, it doesn't require 12 logins, that part makes it super easy for us to have those conversations about the resource allocation, which is where the value of finance comes from, and less worrying about, hey, can you go pick up this balance from this bank for me because I don't have it. Getting away from that and moving up the conversation is exactly the value that we're hoping to get from a treasury system. The reason we picked a next generation treasury tool like Atlar is because of the time to value. For us, it was so important to be able to spend as little time as possible getting the system up and running in our current system ecosystem, which included NetSuite and all of our banks that we have for the house bank, and getting that value right away. I didn't have time, as the business is growing, we're trying to focus on business growth, to spend 6 months on a long implementation project that's going to be expensive and rife with a lot of problems and things to solve with a lot of resources. I wanted to get value very quickly. And the fact that we were able to implement Atlar as quickly as we did with as few resources from Aiven as we had is a testament to how well designed the product is. So the way Atlar has helped our company focus on growth and strategic initiatives is it takes away all that need to do manual work. So it allows the people who we hire to do amazing things in different finance functions to focus on what they should be doing, not transactional work that is manual in nature and also highly prone to error. As soon as we can free that time from them, because it's all being done by the system in the background, we can start having really interesting conversations about what do we do with our cash? How do we best spend our cash? Where do we invest that money? And what's the right approach to invest that money? And the beautiful thing is you can log into Atlar, you can see your entire cash balance in one go, and you'll know exactly when the balances were last updated from the banks. You can also see all the transactions, you can understand how it's been flowing over time. It's given me a lot more comfort that I don't have to ask this treasury team to say, hey, what's the cash balance today? Or how are we doing? Like, where do we need money and where do we need to fund? I can see that myself. And the system is beautifully designed. It's fast. It works really well with our single sign-on and fits all the compliance requirements. So I think from a platform and technology perspective, they've done everything right. So the financial operations and financial reporting teams, I think, are the two teams that are most impacted. Of course, the treasury tax team as well. But they now also have one place to go. They no longer have to depend on the treasurer to tell them what's going on in these bank accounts. They can process payments themselves. They can submit payment requests. They can go and do the reconciliations directly using Atlar as the source. I think that sort of self-service, if you will, allows a company to scale because we don't have to hire more humans to do the work. We can use a system to help automate the workflow. So time savings, absolutely, during every month-end close, but even just during the week when you're paying your vendors, and human error, or rather lack thereof. I think that those are two of the most tangible improvements we've seen. Now with Atlar, we know exactly when the data was updated. We know what data we're using when we're doing reconciliations. And just having that dashboard view that consolidates all that for me, but also mostly for the finance team, that's, I think, where the value of the accuracy and reliability of data comes in. The Atlar team, the founders, the technical team, the account executives, that whole group was a pleasure to work with during the sourcing and kind of selection process. And given that we were new to Treasury systems and we had a relatively immature finance organization, we also knew that we're going to need that help. So having a team that we felt comfortable partnering with and then working through the implementation with, that was a really, really important factor for us. After we decided to go with Atlar, seeing kind of that relationship continue to blossom and develop as we provided feedback and got the support we needed for our unique use cases, that really solidified that Atlar was 100% the right choice for us. The partnership is fundamentally the key part of why we're very happy with the choice, and we hope to continue using Atlar for a very long time. Taking that manual work off of somebody so they can add more value through the work they should be doing as a treasurer or as a finance operations team means that they can do so much more with their time. And I think the choice between not having anything or having a very simple treasury system where maybe you're just getting bank data and reconciling in your ERP versus a tool like Atlar, it's Atlar every single day for me, because fundamentally this will enhance the way we operate as a finance team and, again, provide me the security and understanding that I have that money in the bank, I know where that money is, and it's an accurate representation of my assets so that I can confidently go into resource allocation conversations with the rest of the business. And that, for me, and for my fellow CFOs out there, I think is something they should really consider. I would say for anybody who's looking at a treasury system for their company to seriously give Atlar a good look. I think the team, the technology, the roadmap are all very, very compelling reasons to consider the tool. And given the background of the founders and where they came from and their experience with bank interconnection, it made that process super easy. And at the end of the day, what is Treasury if it's not about understanding your cash with where your banks are? That is their core feature, and that's something they do extremely well.